Alright, in this video I wanted to showcase a little bit the new Entropy Package items. It basically comes with a weapon and a shield, and then the weapon allows you to summon the armor, and then when you have all three out you get a full set bonus. But basically the armor does the status called the cold. It's renamed, I believe, here. But let's start off. I wanted to start off by showcasing the actual items and then pivot a little bit to a couple of, I guess you could say, ideas for the shield and the weapon, in addition to just using it with the full set and summoning the armor. Basically, you got your Entropy Scourge armaments, and then you'll be able to click the little ball here. Let's see here. So that is the ranged one. They updated, I don't know if it's live, but we're supposed to update the armor to work with bows, similar to the Morning Star Cross. So that's kind of neat. Here's the melee version, and then we're back to the magic version. And then you've got the two options. You got the transform and the wrath crash. We'll go ahead and start with this, but it's basically a skill. It does the elemental empowerment of energy, harm, and void. And so you could do it again, for example, and it will actually build. So now you're at 1.429. So now I don't have enough SP. So let's see what we can manage here. So now we're up to 1.5. So the return on investment seems to drastically slow on turn 3 if you're going to try to spam this thing. 1.536. So yeah, I mean, you could spam it and spam it and spam it, but and there's ways that you can, but it looks like the LE and power side of things does slow down pretty well. Alright, and then you also have the transform. So here's the armor. It's Entropy itself. Pretty cool looking dragon, I feel like. And then it comes with 3 skills. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. So this one right here, it's Dodge Lash and Berserk. The Dodge Lash is different than Titan's Fall and Frost Titan Shield. It's not a per hit Dodge Lash. It is a percentage of melee. I think it's around 60% melee, roughly. And then it does a hits versus or landed hits versus total hits mod on there. So it's not like Titan's Fall. But as you can see, you have now a Berserk. I have tested. I've already moved it out of here, but you can pull the Grakma Misk and then the Legion Fenrir Guest, and you will have 3 lines of Berserk, which is potential shenanigans for healing. It would basically, you'd get, I think one of the 2 is the same exact 15 BTH penalty for 121.43. And then, so basically you're getting multiplicative, like 121% times 121%. I may pivot and show that in a minute. You're going to lose a shit ton of BTH. That's difficult to actually land hits at that point. I mean, you're probably losing 40 or 50 points of BTH. But you could, like for healing and stuff, it's going to kind of be bonkers. Then you have the breath attack, and this is going to be the cold, it's pretty weak as far as the actual effect. So it's only 6, but the cool thing here is they did a special save. So the save, and I'll show you in the battle log here, basically no monster can dispel it. So let's see if we can find where it attempted. Let's see. Trying to see here. Alright, let's just do it one more time. But it's like basically like 9,999 is the save. And I'm actually not seeing it now. Maybe they actually removed the save. That's interesting. I did test the other day. As you can see, I did 328 magic harm damage here. So that's going to be the dodge lash, because it unsuccessfully here. That's pretty good. I wonder that I was doing far less damage the other day. Maybe they changed the. Actually, the full set bonus. I think I have the shield equipped. So yeah, the full set bonus increases the dodge lash from around 60% melee to like around 100% melee. So that's why it did so much here. Now, the other day when I first picked this up, it actually showed the save attempt to thwart this. It looks like that maybe as a part of a bug fix, they removed, for this specific instance, they removed the attempted save, like they just killed it. So I'm not sure. It's something that I'll need to find out. But it was there the other day. The other day it actually showed like monster rolled to whatever versus a 9999. But basically what this will do is you'll get a maximum of 5 attempts to, or a maximum of 5 inflictions. Once it hits 30, it will actually swap. So you're getting a negative 28% damage to do this effect. It will swap over to no damage penalty and do void damage. I probably won't be able to get that far here. It probably will kill the monster. But it is true void damage. It's not fake void. So the cold effect is, it grows pretty slow. I think the interaction here is going to be for bossing, and you know, no boss boost or whatever. Once it's inflicted, we'll be able to get rid of it. So it's like a system to, if you're expecting like a long battle, I think this effect would be pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to move on to the second skill. Now the second skill, actually, let's see here. I like to primecast orb over to darkness just to get better fey heals, but in this instance I'm going to make sure energy is decent, so maybe you can see some a little bit better damage. Now on Meteor Strike, it will actually, it's a trigger kind of, but it's an eater kind of without eating the effect. So what it's doing is it's boosting your damage here based on how much cold is. So the more cold that's there, the more damage that second skill will do. Also of note that first skill is weapon based, so I just swapped to Alchemical Unity. So here I'm going to do it again. I should attempt blind. So that's what I've been doing with it, is using Alchemical Unity along with the skill. That way, like now I have up to 32 total bonus to my blocking here. So that's what I've been doing. The cold doesn't grow as fast as even the Mark of Wrath, but the cold is never going to go away. So that's a little bit of the trade-off. And then again, you can I don't think it's going to let me do the skill, so I'll just do this for now. So if you have some pretty good energy resistance, especially if you use Prime Chaos Orb, you can do pretty good damage. It's taking a 28% damage penalty, and it's LE comp to cost, so even magic is only 209. Let's see. We have only 111 for ranged, and it should be the same for... There we go. For melee. So, pretty cheap skills. And then you have this one that gets bonus damage. So it's going to get bonus damage from those 2 6s. And here's the animation for it. They're basically calling a comet. They just increased the base skill damage to 300% on this one, so it's kind of a nuke. So I'm going to pivot to the practice trainer just to see if I can get to the void. Now, your player attacks are taking 8 at 8 BTH loss with this, and I'm in Berserk mode. So using this setup at first does actually, I'm quite down on my BTH. But a couple of inflictions and you start making that up. Come on, FaZe, you were supposed to heal my shit. The shield does cold potence 20, so the line item there that's there is the shield. Doesn't do anything else. 26% to energy. I'm actually probably more excited about the weapon and the shield than I am the armor. The armor's pretty cool. And the biggest reason why I really enjoy the weapon, so if you think about, for example, like Devour armor or the Gallon Acroloth armor, or Arenals and stuff like that, the weapon, all it does is summon the armor and it does nothing else. So some people may not mind that, but those weapons don't do anything else special. For my money, I have those items, but I don't use them because I feel like they're too bland, and so I want my weapons to do something. And maybe that do something is access to the armor, but with this, they actually gave it the skill and the summons. So it's kind of like what they did with the Karnak's weapon. It actually has a skill and summons the armor. So I like those better because I want my weapons to do something else. So in that regard, I'm pretty excited about it. And then the shield, after I'm done here, I'll kind of showcase kind of some better uses. The shield provides, again, the full set bonus. It increases the dodge lash portion from around 60% melee to 100. But the actual effect it has is pretty pointless for this set in general. Having the cold potence for a cold inflict that has no way for the monster to get rid of it kind of doesn't make sense, but I'm fine with it for other reasons. So I'm gonna do this one more time. So now that we've hit 30, this should change to void. So now we have void damage, and then it also loses the 28% damage penalty. So you have basically full void with no penalty here. And then that middle skill, I could have showcased like it would be a pretty significant damage boost without losing the cold effect. Alright, so I'm going to pivot to a couple of ideas that I've played with. So I've often liked to hop in Bard of War, and then you're getting your celerity from your pets and guests here, and then instead of attacking or using bows or wands and shit like that, what I've often done is use weapons with clickable skills, which is what I'm doing here, because these guys are going to go twice. They're going to go a long way to heal my resources, so I could just, in most instances, just sit here and spam with the weapon. So I just used all that SP and I healed it all back. I'll do it again. And specifically with this weapon, with the alien power increasing each time, my damage is going to go up. Now, in this instance, it's only 80%. So as you can see, I can just spam it and spam it and spam it. Some people might say, hey, just use dual mosquitoes. But the reason why I prefer, there's two main reasons why I prefer the Creature 72 phase route. It's dual heal, number one, so maybe for a full defensive Beast Ranger, it would make more sense for a dual mosquito setup, but phase cannot out-eat Creature 72's panic, so what you end up having is 42% reduction in the monster's offense, and that's why you're seeing me not really be hit too hard. And then I like to use the panic potent shield with the Opticos providing my better heals as well as the potence here. So I'm getting 30 points on panic, and it's a charisma save, so that's another 20 points. So I'm getting 50 points of potence. That's why these monsters have such a hard time thwarting this specific setup. So this is going to be a little bit more damaging, I feel like, than maybe going the wand route, because I'm literally I'm doing skills, and as you're noticing, it's just unlimited casting of the skill. And that's why I picked up the Elder Blades. I have some others, you know. When I play this style, you have the magic weapon that has the blind skill. You have even a Panic Eater skill. Cephalolas has a skill with Water Elevol and stuff like that. Now the next thing I wanted to showcase, so anyway, before I move on, that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about this weapon, is because I can add to this specific playstyle if I don't have to just have this weapon to get access to the actual armor. Now I'm going to pivot to the shield. We have the red Moondial Misc, and when it came out I was pretty happy, but the problem with it is I prefer Optico to get better resource heals when I'm doing different skills. That way my skills is basically spammable or pretty unlimited. So I had always wanted a shield that actually had the cold potence, so I can get more potence still from Optico while getting back resources. So I've always wanted to have this specific setup over utilizing a misc, and that's why I prefer my potence on shields, so I can use this guy here. And they finally made the shield that I've pretty much been waiting for. But the shield and actually will now come in handy if you're using Mark of Wrath, if you're using Devour Armor. So in this example, so I've locked my attacks to wind, and then now I'm going to, because now I have the cold potence, I'm going to be able to just, most of the time, be able just to keep my cold there. And then again, because this is weapon based, I'm getting, so if you notice the cold is growing a little faster than the entropy. However, this is easier to thwart, but this is where the shield comes in handy. So now I have 24 and 18, so we've got 42 blocking. And then because I have resource heals, I can like stack Time Killer, Arcane Amp, so on and so forth. And the more damage is going to increase the blind from alchemical. Unlucky strikes. So now I've got 36 blind and 33 cold. So we've got 69 total. This monster being level 126 probably won't thwart it. But 30 points of potence. Now this specific one is an end save, so that's the only drawback, is the Mark of Wrath is an end save. The other day I did try to stack Mark of Wrath on top of Entropy's Cold and Devour Armor on top of Entropy's Cold, and it did actually change the save from going from the ability to not thwart it to thwart it with the save. Now that they don't have it actually listed in the battle log, I do wonder if something has changed. So I will test off camera later and see what we'll do. I'll update in the comments. I find that this armor always had huge potential, but I always felt like it needed enough potency to make it work. And this setup has now finalized all of that. So let me go ahead and make sure darkness is better so I can get some better panning. But basically, this cold is a charisma save, so this is 50 points of potence. And as you notice, it's already 26.5. Pretty good damage. 53. I believe the Entropy package allows for buying the Devourer package even better. And I've just done 2. So I've got 53. So what is ice? 115. So Cold Collapse is weapon based, and it's pretty cheap because it's LE comp to cost, but it's an eater skill that is not yet capped. I think it'll be better once it's capped, honestly, because you could put the cold to something so high that afterwards you could still not be hit, but you'll just see the damage. It was 4,000 on the one hit and the other one missed. So I'm going to do one more here. The cold is one of those statuses that does not scale based on element. So on the celerity here, so already at 44. I think one of the hits on the first one missed. One of the cool things about the cold is it's especially with the Lucky Beast Mage, is you basically gave your entire side of the field a bonus to BTH because their blocking went down. So this is really kind of a Lucky Beast Mage's dream come true type of armor. So now we're up to 70. And then we'll go ahead and eat this cold and maybe see what in 5,000 and 6,000. Yeah, and I've gotten up to 200 on monsters that are I have a lot of hit points, or maybe their ice resist is real low, and then I can prime chaos orb over. You can hit the damage cap with this armor, and as you've noticed so far, now, I don't know what level all the monsters have been, but so far, nobody's removed this cold because of the shield. And again, that's why I enjoy the armor so much, especially now that we have the shield. So already at 53. Need about 85 to become completely unhittable, 90 versus 99% of the game. 79.5, that's pretty high here. Level 149 monster probably has a 5 or 6% chance to actually hit me, roughly. And then we could go ahead. I'm going to try to see if I could showcase what the blind would do before he dies right here. Let's see if we can see it. To 80 right off the bat. Here's another application. You could start off by doing the cold, and then the very next one, go ahead and eat it with your alchemical unity, and the damage would probably still be high enough to the point that it's going to create a really good blind. This one's only 39, but so there's different ways you can go with this. And so rundown, I love the weapon. I can use it with my bard setup and still have access to the entropy. I could, if I really needed to, do a couple of skills, maybe get to 12 permanent cold, and that's enough to maybe make my pets and guests hit for the rest of the fight if I'm anticipating a long fight. I can use, like I said, bard. I can also use the shield for the Mark of Wrath and Devour armors. And so I feel like the shield and the weapon add to other gameplay styles, but also combined with this specific armor. Remember, you now with the Legion Fenrir guest. Let's go ahead and do that real quick before I end. Let's see here real quick. Let's see if we can find where I put the Grakmamisk. I typically have my other categories sorted by element. And now let's see if we can pull up Legion Fenrir. Let's see. Where are you at? Alright, I just want to show that you will get, unless they've changed something since I did this the other day. Alright, so we now have 3 instances of Berserk. So I'm basically taking negative 45 BTH with this setup. So 45 points is pretty significant. But what I would do, honestly, in this instance, is I would do Arcane Amp, which is going to give you about 17. And then I would probably also carry New Year Surprise, which is going to give you another 17. So you're only going to be down, 11 points. That might be worth the multiplicative effect of 121%, 3 different times. But the other thing about this right here is your BTH, your healing. So anything you do healing-wise should actually increase. Probably miss all this. That's just too much BTH lost there. Let's see what phase can do. So as you can see, there may be some shenanigans here. I haven't exploited it or explored it too much, but 3 lines of Berserk could potentially be a lot of damage. I do think that if you're able to inflict the cold in some ways, maybe from another source, maybe from Devourer at first, and then you keep your shield, and then you hop over to this guy, and then you do triple Berserk, maybe you're able to offset. So what, 2 inflictions, maybe a celerity, 2 inflictions from Devour Armor, and then swap to here. So you're gonna have a 53 cold, and then you, like I said, you can actually do triple Berserk, and you actually come out ahead on BTH. So the damage from triple Berserk will be pretty high if you can mitigate your BTH loss. All in all, I think considering that it's the first cold potent shield and that the weapon has a skill attached to it for other playstyles, I think that alone makes the package worth it. And then the armor has a nuke built in. It's a spell-based nuke, but it gets charges from the skill that it's kind of like the Mark of Wrath. There's a charge system. Basically, I feel like they take a similar idea and applied it here. But all in all, I think utilizing the cold as a complete playstyle. Now that you have Devour Armor, Mark of Wrath, and Entropy for the whales anyway, and you can bring in Red Moondial Mist if you need to. And I think it works best with the Lucky Beast Mage currently because of the BTH downsides to the build from your pets and guests, and it basically increases your BTH on your entire side of the field. I think it's a pretty valuable status. But that's it. That's the items. Again, I'll try to explore after this exactly what the interactions are happening with the different armors, colds, as you try to stack one on the other, and then I'll put it in the comments. But anyway, that's it.